All right. 3, 2, 1. Hey, we're live. I'm pretty sure. I think we should be. So yeah. Hey
That's
guys.
a great way to. It's a great way to start.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
let's
know
just
it.
assume we are live and roll on like we're a professional show.
Then halfway through, we'll
Um,
realize we aren't, and all of our time will have been wasted.
uh,
Nah, we're
Chat, prank
live.
us one time by just doing real looking comments for an hour, right? While you're listening to nothing at all. Just be like, by the way, guys, your audio didn't hit come out. But yeah,
It's
hey
okay.
guys, how? Speaking of audio, let us know if our levels are good.
Yep.
Welcome. This is our 1 minute pre-show. Yeah.
And it's the best 1 minute of a pre-show you're ever gonna get.
Hi, Enzo, Tunjay, Zarian, Byleth, Teddy Street, Ian Sweeney. Hi.
Hey. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah. All right. How are you doing today, Shadow?
Pretty good. Had a busy day at work. Other than that, I've been just kind of taking it easy. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
They can't hear. Oh no. How can they not? What?
Oh.
The audio is good.
No, I
Oh,
think the
okay.
audio's good.
All right. Someone's just pranking me then. um.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of told him to do that, so.
Okay. Well, I fell for it already, so there we go. No, it's a busy day at work. Otherwise, just been taking it easy. I had pretzels and I just had pretzels as kind of a light snack before we got on the call to get ready
Okay.
to stream. So yeah, that was the highlight of my day, I guess. Pretzels.
Nice. Someone asked what an audit was, and according to Google, an audit is an official inspection of an individual or organization's accounts, typically by an independent body. And our bodies don't get any more independent. So
Absolutely.
take that. No, basically, yeah, it's like looking over someone else's work. So,
Yep.
they did the Emmys did their award show, and we're here to tell them why they're wrong.
Hmm.
To look over things and try to figure out why Big Mouth exists. Um, hey, we got a super chat from Prince Ralph. A great picture and great name. Ralph was a great character. Are we gonna have monsters as a guest for a 2006 and or 2007 episode? Wink, wink. I am sure we will have monsters somewhere in the 2000s. We aren't against having guests. We just wanted to have at least a few shows of just us, and
Hmm.
because we'd be asking them to watch like 5 episodes, we'll probably be sticking to close friends as guests. So
Yeah.
yeah. You didn't ask how I was doing, Shadow. That's very rude.
That's because you brought up the chat before you gave me a chance. How are you doing, Pi?
I'm doing okay. It was not the best of days. Any day where I spend more than 5 minutes on Twitter is just not a good day.
Yep.
The real people come to the award show audit chat room. That's where the real fans are.
This is
That's
the
where we
cool
chat.
club. Yeah.
Yeah. And just as a heads up, because of things that happened last week, our chat is currently on slow mode, but it's only a delay of 15 seconds, so you can post a new comment every 15 seconds. So we'll see how chat goes this week. If we need to, but yeah, don't freak out if you can't comment twice immediately in a row.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Welcome. So we are going to be covering the 2016 half-hour or more animated Emmys. Primetime is in there somewhere too. And yeah, so we are here in the year 2016. Okay, this is a very notable year for the United States. Very big things happened here, which included the iconic return of the Powerpuff Girls, returning from 2014, I think, 2013, whenever Dance Pants came out. Okay, this is a show that would forever change the lives of one person here. I guess just the one life then.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Streak, how do you feel about the Powerpuff Girls 2016? I
Well,
feel like you haven't talked about that enough. Actually, jokes
Well,
aside, this might be the first time you mentioned that. This might be the first time we talk about the Powerpuff Girls on the award show audit.
I
You wouldn't
believe
shut
so.
up about it on Stream Soda, but on the award show audit, you've been good.
Yeah, that's primarily because today is actually the 5-year anniversary when I uploaded my first video. Believe it or not. So that's pretty cool. And
Very good.
tomorrow is my final PPG reboot video ever. So
Woo!
yeah, I'm
What
done.
timing?
I've done it. It's done. It's over. It's taken care of. So the reason why I haven't really
Is
brought
your
up the reboot so much is because it's not on my mind anymore.
Wow.
Thankfully, I'm
wow.
free of the curse.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it a ranking of incidental characters by most, but from least to most cursed?
You know, no,
Where do
it's not.
roller derby girls fit
Listen.
in with Jared and Donnie?
I mean, okay. I talk about like I'm not gonna say too
All
much.
right, I
but
regret.
talk
No, I
about
regret
the
bringing this
prominent
up. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
characters.
Okay,
So,
cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for the super chat, Ryan. And yeah, let's just get into it. Shadow, what are the nominations for 2016?
All right. The nominations or the nominees, I guess it's the same thing, for 2016 are
Yeah.
imaginary. Play a drum roll in your head. Just imagine it. We got Bob's Burgers, The Horse Rider. We've got Archer, The Figgis Agency. Got Phineas and Ferb, Last Day of Summer. South Park, You're Not Yelping. And The Simpsons, Halloween of Horror. So those are the 5 nominees for 2016.
Very similar to last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, very awfully similar. It's
Almost
kinda-
identical. If you
Yeah.
replace, Sophia with Phineas.
Yep. Notice how
and,
they're both a Disney
Chat wants
show.
me to remind everyone. Chat reminds me to remind everyone that Harambe was 2016.
Oh,
May he forever rest in peace.
of course.
And thanks for the other super chat, Prince Ralph, who is asking you, do you hate the Powerpuff Girls 2016 or the Jungle Book 2016 more? I'm gonna guess definitely the Jungle Book.
I hate the Jungle Book more because at least the Powerpuff
Yeah.
Girls 2016 did something positive for me in my life.
Okay.
So
You're saying that episode of the recast we did on the Jungle Book didn't turn your life around?
no, it really didn't. It really didn't. It confirmed everything I believed.
Shadow
So.
was so salty. I hope like somehow a Disney live action remake gets nominated for an Emmy in 2021. Maybe the Lady and the Tramp one will. For a half hour or more animated.
It better not count,
I hope
dude.
so.
It better not. I swear.
I want you to have to watch it again.
No. No.
I'd like to remind everyone that voting is open for this year 2016. Down in the description on my community tab, there's a link. You can vote on which of these episodes you think is the best. If you want to vote now, you can. If you want to vote after hearing our opinions, you can. And we'll, at the end of the show, announce what won, even if we personally disagree with it.
Yep.
Because we are an award show of the people.
True that.
Okay. So, shall we do the obligatory get Bob's Burgers out of the way first?
Yeah, I think that's a that's a very good idea. Let's go ahead and talk about the Horse Rider.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna open this up by saying I was surprised. As we've noticed
You're
over
not gonna
What's up?
You're not gonna tell people what the episode's about?
Okay, I can. Tina wants to go to a horse camp, and at first her parents are kind of against it, but they end up deciding to let her go. And so Tina spends the episode trying to befriend a horse that doesn't really seem to care about her, while the other 2 children spend time with their mom at restaurant camp, which is just inside Bob's Burgers.
There you go.
I was pleasantly surprised that this episode was not as bad or worse than last week, because we've noticed a somewhat consistent trend of each week getting worse and worse. So this was nice. I was relieved to see that it wasn't nearly as dreadful as last week or the week before that.
It's definitely different from what we've seen.
Yeah.
The the horse seems to be eating my hand, by the way. The way we put it. Yeah, so I think I liked the pig episode the best of what we've seen of these episodes, but I think this is the second best. Also, this is the one that has the least to do with Tina falling in love, unless you consider her falling in love with a horse to be the same, which I don't. Yeah. People are saying at least there's no point of view shot in the thumbnail. Well, guess what, suckers? Because the horse stares you dead on in the episode as well. We didn't choose it because we chose the screencast before watching the episodes. But yeah, there's plenty of shots where this horse is just like looking through your soul, and it looks awful. But I will say the horse is very well. All the horses are very well animated in the episode. And the models are very on model for a horse. But yeah, no, this was fine. I wouldn't say I loved this. I wouldn't say this is award worthy, and I wouldn't I don't know. I would never watch this episode again. But it was fine. Like, it was pleasant. Like, if this is like baseline Bob's Burgers, then like, okay, I could see why this show exists. Yeah, Shadow was making brony jokes this whole episode. Employee Million says Tina the Pegasister. Because I guess Shadow, when he was a brony, he had an imaginary horse. I don't know why he thinks that Tina's a brony otherwise. You know, she just has... Now, I think it's more apt to say that Tina is a BoJack Horseman fan because, first of all, the ranch she goes to is named Horsin' Around. And second of all, she draws a picture of the horse, and it looks exactly like BoJack from the 90s. We don't have that picture on reference, but I'll tweet it out like later or tomorrow or something. So I'm... Yeah.
Listen.
What am I listening to?
Sorry.
What was your imaginary horse's name, Shadow? Was it like Silhouette?
Okay, well, no, listen, if I had something clever, I would totally say it right now, but I got nothing.
This isn't actually a brony episode. Don't get confused.
No, it's not.
There's no references to My Little Pony.
No, not really.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, this is like just one, or I guess two stories. There's an A and a B story, but it's very like linear. Stuff actually happens in the plot. It doesn't feel aimless like some of the other episodes we watched, the other Bob's Burgers episodes previously. It's a very straightforward narrative, but I wasn't entirely sure. It surprised me. Like I wasn't sure where the imaginary horse was going. Like when it was doing, Tina and the horse have like a big goodbye because she's gonna meet a real horse, so she's saying goodbye to the fake one. And I'm like, is this just like an extended joke, or is this is this going to be like a plot point? I genuinely couldn't tell. And then later at the very end of the episode, the resolution is that she ditches the dud horse and ends up just riding this horse at the horse show. But of course, to everyone else, she's just galloping around like walking bow-legged. Like it's honestly funny.
It is.
It got some laughs out of me, and part of it is just because the show as a baseline isn't very funny, but a part of it is because it was a genuinely funny climax.
Yeah, I'd say the payoff was worth it. The payoff of her just constantly like getting run over and mauled by Plops, creative name.
Oh my God! Wait a minute. Oh, sorry. Real Gems just reminded me there is an episode of Bob's Burgers where Bob becomes a brony.
Oh my God!
That's right.
Really?
I'm not kidding. No. It's not he's not a brony, but it's something to do with, I think. Oh God, I can't remember it. I have vague memories of Bob at like this pony convention, but it's a bunch of adult men. Huh.
Oh, that's priceless.
I hope I'm not imagining a better story. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. I was just saying that the payoff seemed worth it, and I didn't really mind the B plot all that much. I thought there were a few funny moments. The episode made me laugh a few times, so it's already succeeded where most others failed. I agree with you. I would say this is the second best one of all the ones we've seen. I also enjoyed the Halloween episode a lot more. If
Tina is imagining an animal, it's a good episode, or it's a better episode than most.
Yeah, I
think
guess
that's
so.
what we've learned.
Yeah.
If we're trying to look at trends, as long as Tina has some sort of imaginary animal haunting her, then things are looking pretty okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, though, I don't know. It's still Bob's Burgers, so like,
right.
It's on the upper end of exciting, but relative to most other shows, it's very, very plain standard sitcom-y. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. People in the comments are correct. The episode is called "The Equestrianauts" from season 4. Oh, it has Paul F. Tompkins. He's I think he's Mr. Peanut Butter on BoJack. But
don't
anyway,
read that comment. I swear.
I'm sorry.
Don't read it.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Streak's imaginary horse is named Donnie.
No. No. Oh,
You're gonna see Donnie when you go to sleep at night.
I probably will. It wouldn't be the first time. I've had nightmares. Oh
Also,
my
this
goodness.
Bob's Burgers Brony episode sounds way more interesting than anything we've seen. At a hotel after party, Bronicus shows Bob a safe where the chariot doll is kept and tells Bob his intent to achieve immortality by merging mouths with the doll.
Oh.
Bob openly recalls a zombie character from Tina's fanfiction, exposing him to Bronoculus. Bronconius. Bob's family arrives to rescue Bob as Bronconius prepares to give Bob a large tattoo on his back in the shape of a horse with his own face on its posterior.
Oh my god.
That sounds amazing. Like,
I mean,
right?
honestly, I'd watch it. So.
Yeah. Dummy.
No.
Yeah, that sounds like a much better episode. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, as with all Bob's Burgers episodes we talk about, there really isn't a lot to say. Like I said, the horse was like well animated, but I don't know if it's just because the show sets such a low standard for animation that like anything that actually moves, I'm like, oh my god, movement! Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's about all I honestly have to say about the episode.
yeah, like the B plot at restaurant camp, like it's just like, it's such a typical B plot in the sense that it's like the stakes are so low and it's so like a by the books plot. Like Gene and Louise go along with the camp that their mom is running so they get out of work, and then she finds out they don't really like the camp. They're just trying to get out of work because child labor laws don't exist in Bob's Burgers. And then they want to go back to the camp because they realized they were having fun. I thought it was cute that like Bob shutting down the camp like motivated them harder to stay with the camp, because that is kind of like a trope of a lot of movies or whatever, where like, you know, the rec club's getting shut down, we gotta fight for it. Also, interestingly enough, H. John Benjamin played a character in Wet Hot American Summer, which is a movie and a TV show about a camp.
Huh.
He played a sentient can of beans.
Nice.
It's not a cartoon. Yeah. Yes. So, Real Jim's hits on something that I was going to bring up. I've mentioned this episode before. The 100th episode of the show is in this season, the 2016 season, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's in this season. It's the last episode, and it's the episode where Bob gets his butt glued to the toilet. And while we were getting ready, I was actually watching clips of it, and I'm like, the song is fantastic. The animation during the song is also like higher quality than usual. And the storyline is funny. Bob accidentally gets stuck in the toilet on the day that this magazine is coming to like review the restaurant and meet him. And like the whole town tries to get him unstuck from the toilet. I don't know why they didn't nominate it. I don't know why they picked this one. That's dumb. That's dumb to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's see. Ryan Witt says this and the Together Again poster in one day to distract me from Jake's mortality. Listen, if Jake the dog doesn't die in the new special, I will be severely disappointed. It's not often I root for a character to die, but oh man, has that been built up so much. I hope he has like some amazing dramatic death. He probably won't, but okay, we can. Oh yeah, wait, hang on. There's a C plot with Teddy's fry withdrawal. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Bob's Burgers is a terrible restaurant.
Yeah, it's a wonder they're still in business, honestly.
They're like teetering on the edge every time, because in this episode, they decide not to fix the French fry machine in order to have money for Tina to go to camp. Like, okay, they love their daughter, sure, but like, you're not gonna have fries at your burger joint. And then does that story go anywhere?
Not
No, it
really.
doesn't. It
No.
doesn't. The thing doesn't get fixed. No, but Teddy is having fry withdrawals because he goes to Bob's Burgers and he can't get fries. And then Bob gets all mad at him when he brings in fries from Jimmy Pesto's, but it's like he's still eating at your restaurant, Bob. Like he's still patronizing you just because he's bringing in outside fries. It's not his fault. Like, come on, don't be mad at your customer. But yeah, what a terrible restaurant. And then there's like kids running around on the ground all the time, camping. Like, what a terribly run restaurant. Just all around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and thanks Ryan for the super chat. I don't know if I said his name. Okay, well, let's move on.
All right. Yep, that sounds
But
good.
yeah, not bad. I think not bad is how I would describe this episode. So if hopefully this is a trend, hopefully with a lot of these long running shows, they presumably had to be good at one point, like good enough for them to get greenlit to just go on for infinity, right? So I'm hoping that what we saw previously was just Bob's Burgers bloated later seasons, like you know the Simpsons and King of the Hill and Family Guy and all these other shows had before it. And we're gonna get to the good stuff. Maybe next week we'll get to a good Bob's Burgers episode. But either way, we're getting close to being done with Bob's Burgers, and that's what matters.
Yep, that's the way I look at it. All right, so next up we've got Archer, the Figgis Agency.
All right, yeah. So this is okay. Similar to last week, this is the first episode of a season of Archer that has an ongoing storyline. However, unsimilar to last week, this is not a dream. This is just the characters have been kicked out of spying due to events that happened in the previous episodes, which Shadow, you probably didn't know this, but the episode right before this, the two-parter right before this, it's the shrinking episode.
Oh,
it's the episode where they
God.
shrink down and go inside someone's body. If you want to hear me talk about that, check out the recast finale.
Wow. Wow. That's
man,
priceless.
yeah. So basically, they decide to become private eyes in California, and this movie star comes in and wants them to get back a drive with sensitive material on it from someone safe, and they go and do the job. But wait a minute, that wasn't actually the actress. It was some mystery person, and the real actress shows up at the end of the episode. So yeah, I would have to say, comparing it to last week's Archer, last week's took place in a dream where they had to set up the they have to set up the the story, and then they also have to set up like what version the new versions of the characters like. There's like just a lot of stuff going on. This one, they do kind of have to set up like the fallout of last season and what's going on, you know, what they're doing. But this one felt like an actual story. This was an episode that I could just watch as a story. It has a cliffhanger, but it's not like, it doesn't feel like you're getting the first 20 minutes of an hour and a half long movie. It feels like you're just getting an episode of a show that happens to be a part of a storyline.
Yeah.
So I thought it was better, especially in that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I felt like it was easier for me to ease into this one.
Yes.
Because again, it wasn't like last week where it started with like a 3-minute segment and then it's like, oh, the dude's in a coma, and then we go into a dream, and then we're reintroducing every single character. This time it was kind of like the show already assumed you knew everyone, so it just kind of went into the story about home invasion. Yeah. And you know, I thought it was relatively engaging. I thought it was funny. There were a few gags that really got me to chuckle a bit. I love the not to jump ahead, but I love the part where Archer just falls down the mountain for like a minute and a half. He's just
the best part.
Oh yeah, it's the highlight of the whole episode.
I honestly think this episode was nominated for an Emmy just because of the falling down the mountain scenes.
I think so too.
There's two scenes. Well, so basically, the house that they go to rob, it's Bojack's house, basically. It's a house, you know, impossibly leaning over a cliff. And so Archer falls off, and it's just like this really crazy, like there's like motion blur, but it's like really well animated of Archer, like, I don't want to say realistically, but very detailedly falling down this cliff for like
Mhm.
45 seconds. And then it happens again later in the episode. Definitely the best part. I thought this was okay. Honestly, I was kind of thinking I'd watch this and it'd be like, oh yeah, this is why I used to love Archer. Like, let me get back into the show. But I watched it and I'm like, yeah, this was okay. I don't
Mhm.
think this was uproariously funny. The story, although it is definitely a story, it's not a complex story. It's, the
No.
characters spend most of the time talking. Uh, and there is still some of like the setup stuff. But yeah,
Mhm.
I thought it was okay. I don't think it's like some of Archer's best banter. The opening, which is funny because it's the same way that the next season opens. That episode we talked about last week. It
Mhm.
opens the same exact way, but this time it's a flash forward instead of a flash back.
Yeah.
I won't say what it's a flash forward to, but it's a flash forward to the thing that happens at the end of the season.
Mhm.
Um, so there's definitely some intrigue there. I didn't really find the banter between the cops very funny or interesting, but definitely there is this hook of like, ooh, what's going on here? Like, and to be honest, I still don't really know the results of that event because you don't find out for like 3 seasons, and I gave up on this show. Oops.
Oops.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about this. Could you separate out Cyril Figgis from Jerry from Rick and Morty?
This time
Or are
around,
you
I
still
had an easier time doing it.
He
Yes.
had more lines this time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I felt that I thought the episode started a little bit slow. It kind of
Yeah.
picked up in the second half though. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Were you were you surprised to find out that Ray was a cyborg?
Yes, dude, I had no idea. That just kind of like blew my mind cuz it was like just a passing line
Yeah.
and then
Well,
he just like
it's fun. There's a point at which, so it's not really acknowledged that in the episode, that, but like at one point Archer's like, here, take Lana and get out of here. And then
Mhm.
Ray just super speeds away, and
Yeah.
then Archer's like, say what you want about cyborgs, but they're fast, or whatever stupid thing he says.
Yeah.
And I was just, we didn't watch this one together. I was just thinking, oh, I bet you Shadow is like, what is going on? Wonderfully random, I have to say.
Mhm.
I kind of forgot how the extent of his cyborgery. Um,
Cyborgery. Nice.
cyborgery, yeah, that's a word, right? Yeah, it's in the Merriam-Oxford dictionary.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. It seems like our audience isn't that interested in Archer, so we can also make this a little quick.
Okay.
Um, Archer, in a lot of ways, it's basically like R-rated Bob's Burgers in the sense that it's a lot of characters standing around and talking. I find Archer more funny than Bob's Burgers, but I think maybe of these two episodes, I might have laughed more at the Bob's Burgers episode, to be completely honest. Um, some of the banter with Archer is very like obtuse. Like sometimes they'll reference really like, a 1928 play that was
Mhm.
only shown once in New York City's underground. Like they'll reference some weird stuff, and sometimes that pays off, and other times they're just like, what are they on about? And I feel like there were a few exchanges that I'm like, probably my fault, but I don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this was okay. I
Yeah.
don't know.
It was
Did it
okay.
make you? Did it make you want to watch more Archer?
No, it didn't succeed on that front.
Yeah.
It didn't
Yeah,
really like
that's
compel me or anything. I thought it was fine. It was fine. Better than last yeah, better than last week.
yeah.
But,
There was cool infrared stuff. Like they put an infrared filter, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
mhm.
I don't know. I mean, the story really is just they just do a home invasion.
Yeah.
Were you caught off guard by the twist at the end?
I was. I honestly
Yeah,
was.
it's a good twist. It was a good twist because the movie star comes in. Who you think is the movie star comes in with big sunglasses and a big hat, and like, she's like she was a movie star, but now she's a little older, and so she's a little reclusive, so no one exactly knows what she looks like a little older. So
Mhm.
it makes sense. There's a lot of twists like that don't make sense, but that one made sense. So
Mhm.
okay,
Yep.
we can move on.
All right. Then let's see. Third up, we've got Phineas and Ferb, Last Day of Summer.
All right, here is the obligatory children's cartoon,
Yep.
and much like Adventure Time, this is the finale. This is a finale.
A finale. Yes.
A finale.
That's a better way to put it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I thought I had seen this episode. I had never seen this episode. Summer Belongs to You is what I thought was like this finale. But it's not. There's this finale, there's the Alka Files, there's the Milo Murphy's Law crossover, there's the fact that Doof is just a character in Milo Murphy's Law Season 2, there's the Candace Against the Universe movie, there's Act Your Age, which canonically takes place 10 years later. There's a lot of finales of Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah. Yeah, I also had never seen this episode before, so I really didn't know what I was in for.
I feel like I watched more Phineas and Ferb earlier in its run, and I think this show kind of happened as I was hitting that point where I was watching less TV. But also, I think they did. I feel like Disney really, I don't want to say overexposed, but they pushed Phineas and Ferb a lot. And they, around the time the show ended, there was the Star Wars specials and the Marvels crossover and the special half-hour episodes and Act Your Age, a big future episode that's full of garbage, nonsense fan fiction stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they kind of put out, like, a lot of stuff towards the end that it's just like, I just don't care about Phineas and Ferb anymore. But, I was happy I saw this. I was surprised I had never done it. The plot of this is basically, it's the last day of summer, shocker, and Candace accidentally hits a button on Doofenshmirtz's machine that basically puts them in a Groundhog Day loop. So Candace and Doof remember everything. Everyone else is stuck in a loop. And Candace is trying to bust her brothers, but of course keeps failing. And Doofenshmirtz is trying to become the mayor of the tri-state area. And then, because of the machine, these rifts open up and suck things into them, and they just stop existing in our reality. And the gang has to figure out how to undo that. It's not often that Groundhog's Day coincides with the last day of summer.
No kidding.
I like how there were groundhogs in the episode, because the whole thing's a reference to Groundhog's Day, the movie. I'm sure that story type exists even before that movie, but that's the one that everyone knows.
Yeah.
We got a super chat from Toon J. I don't want to ignore.
Okay.
Who says Summer Belongs to You is the best Phineas and Ferb finale thing, even more so than the movie Last Day of Summer and the Disney Plus movie. So I'm not crazy for thinking that feels like a series finale, even though it's not. Okay, good.
Honestly, I feel like that's a more fitting series finale than this episode, though. Like,
yeah,
no offense to this episode, but in all honesty, it didn't feel very final. Like, other than that song at the end, I don't know, I wasn't really feeling the whole, like, ending of the summer, you know?
I kind of felt like, because this show had so many other things you could consider a series finale, I like that this episode wasn't in your face. Like, a lot of shows, right, their series finale, they want to cram as many characters as possible. And in this episode, they don't do that. Outside of the clips shown in the background at the end.
Yeah.
They really stick to just the main characters. And even then, it's mostly a Candace and Doofenshmirtz story, as it should be, because they're the interesting characters. Phineas and Ferb and Perry are kind of just like dressing. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. I enjoyed that this wasn't trying to aggressively insert every single look, I love when that happens, certainly. But I kind of felt like, oh gosh, am I gonna say this? I felt like this might have been a better series finale than the Adventure Time one. Just in at least the sense that, man, chat's blowing up. I could tell this is the one you guys wanted us to talk about. Yeah. In the sense that this episode understood that before really the story actually starts, we need to see an extended period of time of Phineas, Ferb, Buford, Baljeet, and the girl, Isabella. We needed to see extended, like, a time of them just hanging out and enjoying the last day of summer. And that's what we get. We get to see them on some crazy ride that they build. And it's just fun, right? Like, that's the Adventure Time finale desperately needed that sense of, like, let's just relish the fact that we're spending a little more time with these characters, and then we can get into the plot.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, I I definitely found it entertaining, and I think it was really cool how they kind of just opened up as like, what are we gonna do on the last day? Everything. And then it's just this huge contraption of like all these different things, and it really just felt like, you know what, that would be the last thing they do, wouldn't it? So I thought that was pretty clever. And the little like,
well, they've already gone back
montage.
to the roller coaster idea. They can't do that again.
Exactly.
They love referencing that roller coaster.
They really do.
Did you guys know the roller coaster was the first episode of Phineas and
No way. I had no idea. I remember when that episode premiered. I watched it the day they aired it for the first time. It's crazy.
Yeah, me too. It premiered after some decom. I can't remember which.
Yep.
Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off is my guess, but that's probably not right. That's probably too early. Maybe it was High School Musical for all I know.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it was, or maybe it was Camp Rock or something like that.
Oh God, Cheetah Girls 2.
Yeah.
We got Cheetah Girls 2. We got rid of Raven. All right, let's see what the chat's saying. Peter Dawn says, when the team decided to end the series, Disney told them not to make any big changes so they could make more in the future. That makes a lot of sense.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there is still a change in it in the sense that Doof is now good. I mean, granted, you could easily reverse it, certainly. But he says he's good, and Vanessa's going to go join Alka, and Carl's gone to school. They don't say, like, if it's college or high school or, like, what the deal is, but he's off at school.
Yep.
And then he shows up later. It's all, how weird is it seeing Carl and Monogram outside of the screen?
I know,
like, I know
right?
it happens sometimes in the show. This isn't like a tough puppy situation.
I think the part that was the weirdest was seeing Monogram and Doofenshmirtz right next to each other during that song. Yeah. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wrong about Tough Puppy. Tough Puppy's not the one where the character's on the screen. I can't remember which. There's like some older cartoon where like there's a character you only ever see on the screen. Maybe I'm thinking of Wade from Kim Possible, but even they broke that. I don't know. CDCB says it was High School Musical 2. So
yep, that makes perfect sense because I did watch High School Musical 2 live because my sister was huge into that at the time. Yep.
You can admit it, Shadow. We're all in this.
The only thing I'm
right?
going to admit is that Bet on It is a jam, but other than that,
Shadow,
I really don't care for High School Musical.
You don't have to stick to the status quo on this. It's fine.
Okay.
But just get your head in the game. Let's focus on the show here.
Listen. I want to break free, okay?
Do I need
let
to
me break
bop
free
you
from this?
Do I need to pop you on your top? Like
that would be fabulous.
Oh man. Okay. Anyway, Phineas and Ferb. So, yeah, I enjoyed this quite a bit. That song at the end was very good. Some of the other songs were okay, but they don't stick in my head as well as some other Phineas and Ferb. The Summer Belongs to You. For some reason, that song is one of the ones that gets stuck in my head. Of course, Ain't Got Rhythm is like the classic.
Oh yeah.
But then there's like Squirrels in My Pants. There's a platypus controlling me. Oh God. You snuck your way right into my heart. Like there's so many songs that really stick with me. I'm so sorry for those puns, guys. High School Musical. I mean, no puns. There was no pun. That was an organic conversation between two friends.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't know. It was good. It was good. Do you have anything to say?
Honestly, like it was pretty much, it reflected everything that I remember loving about the series, you know? Candace was hysterical with all of her attempts. I loved how like each day she'd be like, oh, like, and Doof also did this, but I love how the characters caught on to the fact that they're in the loop, and each day they were like, oh, nope, I'm not going to do this, or I know what you're going to say, blah, blah, blah. And then each time they would still alter the future because they were changing the flow of time. And it was classic. The humor was great. I loved the part where where Doofenshmirtz was elected and he's in the office and he just opens the door in the floor and he looks down at his brother. He's like, "Yeah, I'm the boss of you now." That part was great. Yeah, there was a lot to like about it.
Did we know that the name High School Musical was the working title for it until he decided that was a good title? Huh. That sounds like it makes a lot of sense. That could be a completely false fact, but I'm going to believe it for the rest of my life.
I think I've heard that before, so I'm inclined to believe it's true.
It's probably the same for Phineas and Ferb, to be honest with you.
Yeah, maybe.
Although if it wasn't called Phineas and Ferb, it'd probably be called like Busted.
That doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
Because when you do, you're gonna be busted. I wonder if the word bust, like, saw an uptick in Google search results after Phineas and Ferb. I know the word aglet did. That can be proven.
Yeah.
Okay, Phineas and Ferb introduced aglet to so many people.
That's probably the biggest influence it's had on society. Is now everyone knows what an aglet is.
I feel like most people know Perry de Platypus.
Oh, well, of course. I'm not denying that.
There's a Minecraft YouTuber I watched called Tango Tech, and he built Doofenshmirtz's tower in Minecraft, and he had another amazing YouTuber, Etho, wire up the jingle, so every time he came in, he flew in the top of the building, it would be like ding da ding ding da ding ding da ding ding.
That's perfect.
It's very good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, don't just Google bust. Sorry. Madam Foster's bust.
Yes.
I don't remember the Aglet song, to be honest.
I
That's
remember
weird.
the AGLET part, but I don't remember any of the other lyrics after that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Ashley Tisdale that's why this premiered after High School Musical too. Also probably because that was huge.
Yeah.
So Ashley Tisdale was in 3 monumental Disney Channel properties. Right? Like Sweet Life was a big thing.
Yep, it was.
High School Musical is arguably the biggest thing that Disney Channel, the channel, has ever produced. Not even arguably, that's just true, right? There's nothing that can compete with that. And then Phineas and Ferb would probably be the second biggest thing that they've ever produced.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with that. That is really coincidental, isn't it?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm trying to think. I like that they kept the story pretty simple as well. I like this quite a lot more than Candace Saves the Universe. But yeah, like because it really is just a very simple story, but the setup, it works very well because ultimately a lot of episodes of Phineas and Ferb are about the same exact thing happening over and over again, right?
Yeah.
Phineas and Ferb always make some crazy thing, and Candace tries to bust them and fails, and Doof is trying to take over the tri-state area and fails, and Perry stops them and all this other stuff. I really liked. I thought it was very clever how, unlike in a lot of other big Phineas and Ferb things, the whole Doofenshmirtz section and like the Phineas and Ferb section are kept like away from each other. It's like 2 things. Candace interacts with Doof, but that's it. The rest of them all stay, and Vanessa, she interacts with Vanessa, but the rest of them stay separate. I kind of like that, and I like how in the climax, both sides are working on a solution and are like, trying to figure it out, and it kind of creates a little tension of like, is one of them gonna try it and fail? Or are they both gonna do it and it's gonna work or fail? Like how is it going to end? I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it added to the suspense and tension of the episode. I thought it was good.
People are saying Mickey Mouse Clubhouse ran for 10 years. I mean, I guess, but
I'd say that isn't that like a Playhouse Disney thing though?
Well, it is. See, like. And then someone else is saying Hannah Montana, all right. So to get back to this argument, I will still say it's got to be High School Musical because, sure, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, I'm sure it had a very, it did very well with kids and everything, but there's a very specific demographic that watches that show and remembers that show and cares about that show. Where I feel like there's many grown adults who probably go back and watch High School Musical, who still might listen to some of the songs and are chomping at the bit to introduce their kids to it, where I don't know that Mickey Mouse Clubhouse like has that kind of mind share, to be honest. And Hannah Montana was huge, of course. Like at that point in Disney, sure, but it's just the one show, and now that pop star has like abandoned that persona. So maybe money making wise, Hannah Montana made Disney the most money, but High School Musical literally just had a series based on it come out on Disney Plus. It's still airing. It had what? It had a theatrical movie. It had spin-off. It had all this other stuff, and then it helped the careers of like Ashley Tisdale and Zac Efron.
Yeah. I mean, in my experience, and obviously I'm only limited to my perception, but in my experience, I have noticed far more references that people make to High School Musical than Hannah Montana. Not that it's been forgotten, but I see far more people like make references and memes and jokes and just generally remembering High School Musical more than I see Hannah Montana ever get brought up. And I think part of it is because the original star like just completely abandoned that and like distanced herself from all of it. So, I'm sure that's part of
Whereas
it. Whereas
Ashley Tisdale still bops to the top on a regular on a regular basis. Every other week she's on Instagram bopping it. No, I have no idea. Actually, I feel like did I see something with Ashley Tisdale on YouTube? I'm not sure.
I mean, every movie that Zac Efron's in, like halfway through, he just starts singing for no reason.
They're like, listen, I know this is a movie about, I don't know, fishing, but don't you wanna break from the status quo and do singing?
Does anyone have a basketball I could dribble?
Yeah. Gravity Falls is great, but no, I think some of the people in the chat don't like remember how big High School Musical was and is, and I just, again, I feel like in terms of especially current mindshare, people nostalgically look back on High School Musical. I don't know that people nostalgically care about Hannah Montana other than like, oh, that was what Miley Cyrus did before she became Miley Cyrus. Which is a weird way of saying that. I don't know why I said that. She was always Miley Cyrus. But you know what I mean. Like, Gravity Falls, fantastic show. I love it. If you were to ask adults, like, what Gravity Falls is, or what High School Musical is, more of them would be able to tell you what High School Musical is, probably. Yeah, exactly, Pete of Dawn. Hannah Montana also did kind of hurt Miley Cyrus quite a bit. So, like, there's a little bit of uncomfortableness there. I don't know. Ashley Tisdale just had a baby. Good for her. Shadow is muted, so I just got to carry this on. I don't know why I told you that. You probably would never have figured it out because I talk so dang. But yeah, so Phineas and Ferb. I wasn't disappointed by how little like Phineas and Ferb themselves were in it or really did anything in it. Like I said, the show's always really been about Candace and Doof. It's weird hearing Vanessa because I hear Marceline. She does the exact same voice always. It's a great voice, but it's hard not to hear it. Although she was doing Vanessa before Adventured, I believe.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Okay, you're all good. Call. Anything else to say about Phineas and Ferb?
No, I think we covered most of everything. I thought it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, and definitely like that little like Phineas waving goodbye at the end, like the little touches like that. I was like, man, that kind of gets me in the nostalgia. Even though they're just put out a movie like a few months ago, and they're definitely gonna do another one. Like Disney didn't let Phineas and Ferb die long enough for me to feel nostalgic about it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still here. Doof was still showing up regularly in Milo Murphy's Law. Doofenshmirtz, and then Dan Povenmire still like does Doof on YouTube and stuff. Doof has never left the country, or the country. He never left the tri-state area. Did you feel any bliss from a character in this?
Oh my gosh. Oh, don't remind me. I mean, I can't unhear it, but
yeah,
I try to pretend it never happened.
Did you want Vanessa to just like fly away back to her island?
I wanted her to have her entire like all of her character flaws just solved in a second. That's what I wanted. I wanted her to just see a flaming tire go by and be like, "Oh, I'm suddenly perfect."
Did you want Doofenshmirtz to lock her, or to be like, Go stay with your mother. You are too powerful. You can't be here.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then at the end of the episode, she just flies to Saturn.
I really like one of the nice things. Vanessa is a great character, and I like her and Doof in this, especially because her going to live with her mom full time, like, it's kind of a very real stake for such a goofy cartoon. Like, this idea that basically he'd kind of like lose her. So I thought that was nice, and I also like how like okay, so we talked about Pickle Rick, right? Where this psychotherapist person, after one session with Beth, just knows how to analyze Rick, and can explain his character perfectly. Doesn't make any dang sense. But Vanessa, his daughter, a character we've seen them share, a lot of screen time over the years, her telling him, Dad, you're not really evil. You're just kind of trying to be evil because your backstory's sad. Like, I felt that worked. I'm like, you know what? This is basically her just kind of like pointing out his character. But I think it was earned. This is a series finale. This is not some rando new character. This is a character who does know him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Pendleton Ward, Phineas and Ferb was why Pendleton Ward heard about Olivia Olsen? That's amazing.
Huh, how about that?
Yeah. And of course, her writer, her dad's a writer, and he's written for SpongeBob and other things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So next up, we've got the South Park episode. You're Not Yelping. I didn't care for this one.
Man, you're just right into it. You don't want to tell people what this episode is, or
this episode is.
No, I'll tell it. I don't know if you
Okay.
can. I don't. God, why did you pick this screenshot? I just. Okay. So this is season 19 of South Park. This season had a storyline of gentrification. You could kind of tell, like, there's all these new fancy places in South Park. I think like the episode directly previous was like the episode about that, but it kind of like there's this undercurrent of change in South Park. And this episode is about how Cartman and Kyle's dad, because apparently he's just all over the Emmy nomination episodes, they've become Yelpers, and the whole town is getting ruined by people who say that they're food critics, even though they are just amateur food critics, and they just write Yelp reviews. But they say that they are to get special treatment at restaurants, and then the restaurants get fed up with it and push them away, and then I don't know. The Yelpers think they're all important.
Yep. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I get what this is going for because it's still something that's true today. Is that online reviews do actually matter?
Oh, hey, wait, Shadow. No.
What?
Shh. You gotta be nice. This is what we do. You gotta be careful. Don't say that we're. No, we're
I wasn't
very
about
important.
to say that.
Okay.
I was about to say that. I was
okay.
about to say that critic voices do matter in the sense that when it comes to the way businesses kind of like operate, especially online, those ratings are very, very important to search engine optimization.
That is true.
So like if a restaurant like and it like even if you drop from a 4.6 to a 4.5, that severely impacts you. Because I've looked into this stuff. So like I understand that the episode's kind of overplaying the importance that these Yelp reviewers think they have on the company or restaurant, in the sense that
Well, let's just be clear. These are not people who really care about reviewing food. These are
no
in the episode. In the episode, I'm not talking about real people. In the episode, the whole point, and this is illustrated by Cartman. Like I said last week, Cartman will take advantage of basically anything to suit his needs. And this is basically a bunch of people who want to feel important and get special privileges over everyone else. That's what they're saying about Yelpers in this episode. And there's no Yelpers in the episode that really do care. You could maybe argue that Kyle's dad cares because he does seem to put a lot of work into his reviews, but we don't really know. The episode kind of puts it off as pretentious. Like, they're basically kind of just like saying all Yelpers are way. They're all self-important jerks. And the fact that the creators of the show live in California, which is an area that certain parts of California anyway that do feel very like self-righteous about things and feel very important. I'm sure it's like amplified out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've never seen this out in the wild. I'm sure this happens, but personally, I've never been to a restaurant and like seen someone say that they're a Yelper or like taking pictures of their food or whatever. Like I've just personally where I live, it's just not really.
Yeah, I haven't really seen it either. I also think Yelp has kind of like decreased in popularity over the past few years.
Yeah,
So it's probably not as relevant now as it was when this episode was made.
but Google reviews, like when you Google
Mm-hmm.
something, it the reviews do come up.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so like yeah, the episode's point is basically like these are people who don't actually care. They're just people using the system to get special privileges.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a little bit mixed in of radicalization. Like basically all the Yelp reviewers after Cartman just calls like one meeting, they're ready to go to war with the restaurant owners. And there's footage of I think terrorists maybe or army footage. I'm not entirely sure, like real life footage
Mm-hmm.
thrown in there. And again, I'm not entirely sure if they're making a statement, but I think they are because online radicalization, the idea that basically on the internet it's very easy to whip people into a frenzy and get them to quote unquote fight for what they feel is a just cause because their group is being attacked.
Mm-hmm.
But the episode doesn't really go into it. There's parallels being drawn, but I think that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think another important point that the episode highlights is the fact that the way that Cartman kind of rallies everyone, he presents it in a indiscreet way where it can be interpreted as though each person thinks that he's talking to them. So it becomes a very individualized thing where all of these people feel this way because they think that they are the important leader.
Right. Well, Cartman. So yeah, he wants to be the Yelper, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so in his speech, he's like, there can be only one. I'm sure each of you understands that. Like, so they each think they're the leader. And
Yeah.
I thought that was clever. I thought that was like
Mm-hmm.
a cute thing at the end where basically the whole thing gets torn asunder because everyone's just like, yeah, I'm the important one, and it transparently shows what these people care about. Sure,
Yep.
but I just don't think this episode really has a lot of things to say. If it's gonna cover the topic that was relevant and is kind of relevant still, I
Mm-hmm.
think it should have more to say than just, hey, the people that do this are just like self-righteous, which is like, duh. I mean, not I don't think every Yelper. I'm sure there are people who genuinely care about food and stuff, but
Yeah.
of course, if you tell someone that they can say they're a food critic just to get like free food and specialized seating and all this stuff, of course there's gonna be some jerks that take advantage of that. Like
Yeah.
we don't need an episode of a show to tell me that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, like I felt like the commentary of this episode was just like very weak. And then on top of that, the actual story of the episode is so boring. The first third of it is just a montage, basically. Not really a montage, just scene after scene of like Cartman acting snobby at a restaurant
Yep.
and these strangers acting snobby at a restaurant and these strangers acting snobby at like a Chuck E. Cheese type place. It just the story doesn't actually pick up until like halfway in, and then Cartman whips these people into a frenzy, and then they just kind of break up because they each think they're the lead. Like I don't know, it doesn't go anywhere really. The commentary's weak, the story's weak, and then the ending, the part that I'm sure
Yeah.
anyone who's watched this episode remembers, and I gotta speak very vaguely here. Basically, the restaurateurs get back at the critics by putting disgusting parts of their body in the food, uh, including snot, right? And there's a whole song about how they do all these disgusting things to the food, and we get to watch these Yelpers eat it. And I gotta say, I just found the entire thing just so disgusting and stupid. Not in a way that I think is funny. The Tina riding an imaginary horse at the end of Bob's Burgers is so stupid that I laughed. I laughed like crazy.
Yeah.
This, I'm just like, that is disgusting. I
Mm-hmm.
don't ever want to eat out again. Like I'm not a Yelper. I treat wait staff and people delivering my food. I try to tip as well as I can. But even still, just the idea of this is disgusting. Seeing it is disgusting. The song is just infantile. Um,
Yeah. 100%. It's very juvenile.
yeah.
I didn't see any appeal in that. I didn't see what this added to the like. I don't see how this adds anything at all.
No, it's like they wrote the song first or something, and then
Yeah,
tried to
honestly.
justify it with an episode. And maybe I don't know. I mean, this takes place in this episode aired in what 2015, I think 2016, one of those two. 2015, yeah, because season 20 aired right around the election. So there might be some other context that we're just missing because we don't remember or we weren't a part of some cultural phenomenon happening. But just like I don't know, and it much in line with the Bob's Burgers episode. South Park this season had Tweek and Craig. This was the season of Tweek and Craig. That the romance of these two little boys that was created because the Asian fan base was obsessed with them. Like, it's a clever episode. It's a good episode. It makes me tear up a little bit, and it's just kind of ridiculous, but it still makes me feel emotions. Why was this nominated over that? I don't know. What about this You know what? The only thing I can think is that the South Park writers thought this would be funny to send this episode with that song at the end. That's it. And knowing the people who write South Park, the people who create, that might honestly be it. I don't know that they really care about awards at all. In fact, there was an episode that mocked the fact that they won an Emmy. I remember, I believe it's an episode about Randy taking a giant poop, and I'm pretty sure at one point they put like a little Emmy picture in the bottom, like Emmy award-winning show. In the middle of a really gross thing. So I don't think they care. I think they submitted for it. Now, why did the Emmy voters decide to make this in the finals nomination here? I have no idea.
No idea.
No clue whatsoever. This is a real stumper. There's not even any ambitious animation in it, right? Like, I feel like in some of the other things where we're a little confused, maybe there's like a 5-second clip of something that looks good and you're like, bam, that's awesome. But this episode of South Park doesn't have anything even trying to be ambitious. It's just, there's a crowd shot, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't really see anything remarkable or worthwhile in this one. This is another one of those episodes where I question why was this even nominated, because by no means do I think this represents the best of the best in 2016. So, yeah, I don't know. This was a waste of a nomination, honestly. I'm not even gonna like sugarcoat that.
Yeah. I mean, even the episode right after it, Safe Space, I feel like is a lot more, I guess, like relevant. I haven't seen it in ages, but it's basically about like, Cartman becoming hypersensitive, and he gets Butters to read all of the hate tweets that he gets and filter it all out, so he's in a safe space. And I think that there's, like, again, I mean, I don't remember what the episode's trying to say, so don't like judge me based upon that. But I think that episode at least is trying to kind of make a bigger statement about culture and society than this one.
Yeah, I'll take your word for that.
How funny is it seeing Cartman like ethnically insult one of his classmates? Isn't that funny?
No.
There's a Hispanic kid that moves in, and he works at one of the restaurants Cartman goes to, and then Cartman spends the rest of the episode being like, "Oh, do you ride your bicicleta?" And he calls him David when his name is David. And it's like, I'm not offended. It's South Park. I don't think anything Cartman said way more offensive things, certainly, but it's not funny. It's not like, it just seems to exist to remind us that Cartman sucks, but it's not funny, and it doesn't really serve the story. It's just like, it's just kind of there. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm more thing in 2021, but it's just like, if you can't find a way to make it, I don't know, casual racism. I'm not saying it should never be in any story, because there's certainly stories that, are about that sort of thing. But just throwing it out here for really no reason is just like, ugh.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of. I've never been really a fan of that sense of humor, so it's kind of why I avoided South Park, because I know it's pretty prominent in the show.
It's full of it.
So
yeah.
This is kind of like the typical thing I've come to expect from the show. So that's why I found the Put It Down episode so like surprising when we watched that, because I was like, wow, this is like actually thoughtful, and it's provoked me. So this one just
Thank you, Pete of Dawn. That's the other thing. Like, Cartman has done many, many worse and more offensive things. So even as a shock element, his casual racism isn't, it doesn't even work as shocking. Like
Mhm.
it is just kind of like okay, like and I
Yeah.
sure hope no one named David got called David because of this episode.
Mhm.
um all right.
Okay, well, that brings us to the final nominee of 2016, which is Halloween of Horror from The Simpsons.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, our
Uh,
obligatory ending on The Simpsons episode.
mhm. Yeah. We got a comment real quick from Ample Samuel saying they see an adult show, they recognize it and select it. There really isn't an explanation that makes sense and involves them actually watching it. I do agree. I do think, just hypothetically, that the reason why that South Park episode, I think the South Park people nominated it just for kicks, and then I think that the Emmy people, maybe all the other nominations, things that were sent in, were just kids shows, and then they're like, nah, we can only have one of those. Like, no, no, no. Maybe exactly 20% of Emmy voters care about children's animation. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just exactly 20%. Another 20% only vote for The Simpsons, right? Another
Hmm.
20% only vote for Bob's Burgers, and then there's like a rogue 40%. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's
Yeah.
the same people every year voting for the same shows. Maybe that's it.
It wouldn't surprise me. That would explain why so many of the nominees are similar from year to year. It
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Employee a Million says Simpsons and ending don't really belong in the same sentence.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so this episode is Halloween of Horror, because The Simpsons likes nominating things that are Treehouse of Horror adjacent, apparently. Um, so in this episode, it's actually Halloween at the Simpsons house. The whole episode is just normal Simpsons. There's not some wacky Treehouse of Horror story. Um, and essentially, Lisa is excited to go to this theme park that has like a scary experience, up until she actually goes and then gets horrified by it, to which point she's too traumatized to enjoy Halloween anymore and retreats back into her safe space, which is her little tail there, Taily. Um, and so, meanwhile, Homer has accidentally gotten these pop-up people kind of like these yokels who work at the pop-up store, Halloween store. He's upset them, and so they come to the Simpsons house to try to get him back, and it kind of plays out like a horror movie. Lisa's scared and upset. Homer tries to hide it, and then they have to get to safety and alert everyone else.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Bart is upset that he's missing out on Halloween because they have to take Halloween away because of Lisa being scared. So Marge tries to give him a good Halloween at like a rich neighborhood. Uh
Hmm.
can I start by I'll do the shadow streak method.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I loved this one. I love this one.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah, I like this one. I don't know that I
Mm.
loved it, but I really liked it.
This okay. Ready? Here's some bold statements. Here we go. All
Hmm.
right. This is the best Simpsons episode after season 8 that is not a gimmick episode. Yes, it's a regular Halloween episode, and it does have that, but it is not a gimmick. It's not an episode where they're Legos. It's not an episode in the future. It's not an episode where they cross over with Futurama. It's not like all the
Hmm.
episodes that people generally love from modern Simpsons are ones that are genre bending, right? The ones Bart Hood, which is also this season, which we'll talk about in a minute. Um, right, is experimental. It goes through Bart's life growing up. Like there's all these experimental stuff, but I genuinely think of the normal episodes of The Simpsons, this one is the best episode in like 2 decades. I think that it has a heart, it has an atmosphere, it has a tone, it has qualities that you just generally don't see in The Simpsons, and I think like the one area that this episode doesn't excel in is comedy, which is interesting because I feel like it excels in every other aspect. It's got great homages to to classic horror stuff, like Halloween and Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's got really good atmosphere. It's got some interesting CG shots as well. And the heart of this story, Homer Simpson is a good father in this episode, and that is such a revolutionary thing for this series that it just like it amazes me. And the episode has a good moral at the end about, you got to face your fears. You got to, just because you're afraid doesn't mean you should be helpless. Like, it's a Homer Lisa story that isn't just, I don't understand you. Oh yeah, well, I don't understand you. It's just, it's so good. And maybe I'm praising it, I am praising it in part because of the context of what The Simpsons is and has become, where modern Simpsons can be a funny show and it can be an experimental show, but I feel like it very, very, very rarely is this heartfelt and meaningful and can feel comfortable not going with a dumb joke every 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, when it tells jokes in the episode, they're funny. I love Homer's like, oh yeah, let me just whistle a tune to cheer up the mood, and he whistles the theme from Halloween.
Yeah. Oh my god, that part killed me.
Yeah. I mean, and I love the story too. The fact that in the end, what saves them is the Halloween decorations they put away, and that they're able to light the match because Taily is soaked with face oil from Lisa hugging it. Like, I think this works so well as a story. I love it. I love it. Definitely, it's the best that of the episodes we've seen. And I think it's really, really novel, and not even because it's about Halloween. Like, I think it's clever that they did this. Right, but even without, like even if they had done Halloween episodes before this, I still feel like they nailed this so well.
I agree. I think the thing that stood out most to me about all of this was that scene with Homer and Lisa in the attic, where
Yes.
Homer was just like up front with her, and he's like, "Listen, unlike everything else that has happened, this is like 100% real. I'm scared too." Like the fact that he was just straight up, because, it kind of goes to that whole idea of like, when you're a kid, you think your parent knows everything and, they're going to take care. And the fact that Homer has like the guts to just open up to his kid and be like, listen, we're in trouble and I don't know what's going to happen. And this is very bad. And the fact that he kind of encourages Lisa to like think of a solution, and she manages to come up with something. That whole attic scene was like what really like sold me on this episode, because I loved a lot of the build up, but that was just like the peak of like of everything, of all the nominees. I think like that is just like the most standout thing from everything in this selection, and was really, really good writing on this show's part. And like you said, I really enjoyed the animation in some scenes. I thought the Rocky Horror, like that whole parody, was hysterical.
Yes.
That was another great standout moment. And yeah.
So basically, as night falls and trick-or-treaters leave, the whole town just becomes this crazy party of adults only, and they're all like half naked and doing crazy stuff, like And there's a great music number that's a send up to, oh gosh, what is it? Time Warp? I don't know, but some song from Rocky Horror. I can't remember. But yeah, just fantastic all around.
Yep.
I would say that the Bart storyline is not particularly strong, but it's just like, it's fine. Like, it's a story. It's a B plot that makes sense for what's going on. It's connected to the A plot in a way, and it does a good job breaking up the kind of like tense horror-esque scenes at the Simpsons house with something else. I like the pop-up guys. Like, they call them pop-up guys. They're just kind of like these yokels that go around and they like steal from where they work, and they're not great people, but I think they make like nice, believable villains for the episode. They're not some like, it's not over the top. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like these low class guys who come to just like rough Homer up. Like, they're, it's not some like escaped murderer from the jail next door. Like, I don't know. They could have gone crazy over the top with it, but they didn't. They created like believable villains for the episode, and crazily enough, they get a nice ending.
Yeah.
The show like takes pity on them. And they're like, oh, you're just another byproduct of our throwaway culture. I'll get you a job at the 99-cent store, because that's year round. Like, I don't know, it was in a weird Simpsons way. It was sweet. Like, you don't. A lot of times, especially in more modern Simpsons, if there's a chance to be sweet versus a chance to have like a mean joke, they'll do the mean joke. And sometimes the mean joke is funny. A lot of times the mean joke is just like, oh wow, you undercut any emotion you were trying to go for. But this episode is wholesome through and through without losing out on like the Simpsons, biting edge, I wouldn't say. Oh, and another thing I like of Homer being a good dad is that when they're at the theme park, Homer says, there's a joke about him saying, like, these tickets were really expensive, but I also like how he tells Lisa, you were really excited for this. Are you sure you want to leave? Because it is true. Like, when there's young kids, honestly, really with anyone, right? If you go with your gut reaction to leave immediately, as soon as you're not having a good time with something, you might regret that.
Yeah.
If you're looking forward to it, you need to make sure that you're sure, you actually want to leave, and then Homer takes her out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing too is, like, as soon as Lisa, is kind of traumatized, Homer takes down the decorations with Marge. He's not particularly happy about it, but he does it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't grumble about it for the rest of the episode. There are definitely seasons of The Simpsons where Homer would have been like blatantly making fun of Lisa's, fears and being like, oh yeah, we have to take this down because, your sister's being a big baby. Like, oh, she can't stand a little bit of horror on Halloween. Ooh, like, there definitely could have been a Homer Simpson. There's an era of the show, especially, where Homer would have just like been roasting his 8-year-old daughter over being scared.
Mm-hmm.
Mwah, chef's kiss to this. Yeah. Anything else on this?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you all the praises you sung plus those highlights I made. I mean, I really like this episode. This is probably, of the episodes we've seen of The Simpsons, this is probably also my favorite as well. So,
Yeah, nice.
Solid choice. I recommend anyone watch it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and the atmosphere of the episode is it's very good. Again, it doesn't go like full horror all the time, but there's a few moments that are just genuinely creepy. And yeah, I mean, there's still some jokes like I like how, the pop-up guys are like, okay, yeah, we'll, give us money for one, we'll load 4 into your truck. Just don't tell Old Man Squishy. And Homer doesn't get that Old Man Squishy is a poo. Mm-hmm. He's just like, don't tell Old Man Squishy. And you'll be sorry. And Homer's like, I am sorry. I'm sorry for my bad Homer impression. I don't know why I did that. Okay. So I think this definitely deserved to be nominated, and I think that, again, sure, it's novel that they did a Halloween episode, period, but that doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of, like, shows in general, right? I wouldn't have nominated it on that fact alone, but based on the atmosphere of the episode, how good the story is, how sweet the characters are, the good moral at the end, like, based on that, yes, I would say this is something special that deserves to be up here and nominated. Something I want to mention before we move on is that only a few episodes after this is the episode Barthood. Now, Shadow, are you familiar with the movie Boyhood?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Boyhood was a movie shot over like 15 years or something. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a documentary. The Simpsons episode's not a parody of it, but it does use the structure, which is basically, over the course of the episode, we see Bart at various ages, including very young, just a little younger, a little older than he show, and then it goes into adulthood, like. And it's a good episode, it really is, but it's also experimental and bold, and it's the sort of thing that I really would have expected them to nominate instead of Halloween of Horror. It's the sort of thing that, like, when you think award shows and you think of, like, ambition and experimental, like, sure, Barthood would be the choice for that, but I think that just the better episode. Oh, sorry, Boyhood is not a documentary. My mistake. I haven't seen it either. I only know it from Red Letter Media, and they dump on it. But anyway, I'm happy they picked this one. To be completely honest, I think this is a better episode overall, and I think this is amazing. So, before we tell you what won the Emmy, I'd just like to remind everyone that down in the description there's a link for you to vote on which of these episodes you think is award worthy of these 5 that we just talked about. Please vote, and then in like 10 minutes we're gonna announce what wins the award show audit award for 2016.
Yeah. Get excited. Woo.
Okay, so Shadow, what won the 2016 half-hour animated Emmy?
Oh boy. All right. Well, as it turns out, it was none other than the Figgis Agency.
Weird. All I can say is weird.
Like, yeah.
I'm not even like indignant like I was with Pickle Rick,
Mm-hmm.
or Bob's Burger. Like I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, they picked that one. Like I don't.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that animation of him falling down the hill. Who boy.
That was definitely the highlight.
Maybe the Emmy voters are big fans of whatever obscure things that Archer was referencing in the episode.
Maybe.
Oh man. Yeah, woof. So yeah. We'll see. So far, there has not been a kids show that has won. I wonder if that will change. But it is interesting that we're what, five in a row.
Yep.
Where the kids show didn't win. Yeah. Okay. So then our picks then. Shadow, what would be your pick of these 5?
All right, I'm going with probably. I don't know if this is unsurprising for me. I'm going with My Fair Haiti from Wander Over Yonder.
Oh no, I meant of these 5, dude.
Gosh darn it! All right,
that's not one of these 5.
Sorry. All right, well then
we'll
in
get
that
to
case,
that. We'll get to that.
Pick,
that's the next.
You're right. I misheard you. My pick is the Simpsons episode.
Okay.
No, you know what? No,
yeah.
Forget the nominees. I'm picking the one I want.
Oh man. Yeah, no, Simpsons. I also picked the Simpsons episode. The South Park episode was bad.
It was terrible.
The Bob's Burgers. Yeah, I mean, all right. I guess I'll do my rank. I would put South Park at the bottom. Then Archer above that, and then I would put Bob's Burgers above the Archer, and then Phineas and Ferb, and then The Simpsons.
I agree.
Phineas and Ferb was fine. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think it made a lot of sense for Phineas and Ferb. I don't think it is particularly an ambitious episode. I don't think it made me laugh a lot. I don't think it was just a satisfying finale. I don't know why they nominate finales. I guess because a lot of work are put into them, which makes sense. But they're generally like terrible to just watch out of context. And I didn't feel like this one was particularly ambitious. I'm gonna go ahead and guess. I haven't seen the results, but I'm gonna go ahead and guess Phineas and Ferb probably won our poll. Just because it seems like a lot of people have seen Phineas and Ferb. Yeah, nothing against it at all. But I think The Simpsons really blew me out of the water, and just like. Yeah, I mean, modern Simpsons could be this good every week.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I honestly, I genuinely think if they just injected a little more heart, right? They took away like 10% of the jokes and added 10% more heart. The Simpsons could be maybe not this good exactly, but almost this good every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. My ranking's the exact same as yours, so.
Okay. Wow, so you put Bob's Burgers in the middle as well.
I did. I did put it over the Archer episode because, yeah, I mean, like I said, the Bob's Burgers was a pleasant surprise, and it was, it had a lot more comical moments. Not that there were several,
yes.
But it did make me laugh a bit more, and I thought it wasn't, surprisingly, as slow as the Archer episode was in the first half. So, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I think the climax of Tina running with the horse just like that made me laugh a lot. It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so now Shadow
All
Street.
right.
Of things that came out in this Emmy cycle of June 2015 to June 2016, could you name off the top of your head an episode that you think should have been nominated?
No, honestly, I completely forgot to pick something for this year. No, I'm
Uh-huh.
going with Wander Over Yonder, My Fair Haiti. It's one of the most iconic episodes, if not the most iconic episode of that series. It's a musical episode, which is great. The songs are great.
Mm.
The animation's great. Who doesn't love Lord Hater and Lord Dominator? I mean, come on. Like, yeah, it's a hysterical episode. Like, it's almost like it is the Wander Over Yonder episode when you really think about it. I remember when it came out, like everyone was talking about it, and this was right around like when Wander Over Yonder was said it wasn't getting a season 3. This episode like blew up. Everyone was like talking about it. Really wish it did get a season 3, but like if there's any Wander Over Yonder episode that you should see, it's probably this one. It's a great episode overall and really entertaining all the way through.
Is it 22 episodes?
You mean
Or
22 minutes?
sorry, is it 20? Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I wish it was 22 episodes long because it's great. Yes, it's 22 minutes.
Okay, okay. That's fair. All right, so my pick is the joint pairing of Once Upon a Townsville and Man Up 2 Still Manning from the Powerpuff
Would
Girls.
you stop? Don't do this to me. Oh my gosh.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
I'll have you know that Once Upon a Townsville was nominated for the short form category this year, and it is the worst piece of animated trash I've ever seen in my life.
You guys, if this show does well, if you guys keep supporting our show, eventually we will do the short form category, and Shadow will have to talk about not just Powerpuff Girls 2016 again, but he will have to talk about one of, if not his absolute most hated episodes from that series.
It is my most hated episode. It's the worst piece of animated trash I've ever seen. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. If there's no other indication that the Emmys are rigged, it's that. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm seeing some good ones in the chat. Someone's saying A Tale of Two Stands from Gravity Falls. You guys know I stand that episode quite a bit. It's my favorite episode of Gravity Falls. But of course you guys know what I'm gonna pick. So BoJack Horseman was in its second season. Okay. And there's not. There's a few, again, as always, there's a few that could be nominated, but I think Escape from LA is the series defining episode. In terms of like events from that episode define the rest of the series. It's the one where BoJack goes to New Mexico to visit Charlotte. And oh man, it's quite the ride of an episode. It's very good. It has a cool little sequence at the end that's special, and just the story is really something. Yeah. So I think I would go with that. Hank After Dark is another interesting episode that is very relevant, especially in today. But yeah, I'd say Escape from LA, of course. But like I said, I also think that if I had to pick a Bob's Burgers episode, the season finale, Glued, Where's My Bob, the one where he's stuck in the bathroom, I would pick that for Bob's Burgers.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. I don't know why. Who am I thanking? I don't. I'm sorry. I just went absent-minded for a second there. I'm tired. All right. So, should we reveal what won the award show audit award?
Yeah, I guess so. If you want to go ahead and pull that up.
Okay, here we go. I haven't looked at this. Bum 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 bum. It is.
I really should get like a drum roll sound effect or something.
With 68% of 374 votes, the winner is Phineas and Ferb: Last Day of Summer.
There you go.
Not surprised. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like it's just kind of my audience, to be completely honest. We will honor it. We honor people's opinions, and I'm not saying your opinion's wrong. I'm just saying I don't know if everyone's seen all these. But we never stipulated that you had to. Just like real Emmy voters, you can just watch whatever you want. So. Okay, so the other results were in second, surprisingly, South Park, You're Not Yelping. In third, Halloween of Horror with 10%. In fourth, The Horse Rider with 5%. And the Figgis Agency with 2%. Which is funny because that's the winner of the Emmy. So
Yeah.
very interesting, very different. We have like very different opinions here. The our viewers have one opinion, we have another, and then the Emmy voters have another. So very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not upset that you guys chose Phineas and Ferb. It's a solid finale. And I mean, yeah, it's be nice if a kids show was acknowledged. We'll see what happens in the future. All right, buddy. Anything else before we announce the 2015 category nominees?
No, I think that about does it. So yeah, we can go ahead and get into the nominees for next week's episode now.
All right, do it up.
All right, so next week we have the following nominees. Let's see. We have Bob's Burgers. What a surprise! With Can't Buy Me Math.
Woo! We're almost done with Bob's Burgers.
Almost, yeah. We have Archer again with the episode Pocket Listing.
I like that episode a lot more than this week's.
That's good. We've got Over the Garden Wall, the entire thing. So
yes, yeah. Over the Garden Wall, the entire thing. Because somehow, some way, an entire miniseries can get all just nominated at once. Why not? Who cares?
Why not?
Over the Garden Wall deserves certainly to be nominated. It's just very weird that this is the category that it got in.
And then we have South Park, Freemium Isn't Free. And last but not least, you're never going to believe this.
What show, Shadow? What show is it?
The Simpsons. Treehouse of Horror 25.
All right, more Treehouse of Horror, but this time we're actually doing Treehouse of Horror. Yeah. Not a Halloween of horror, not a Thanksgiving of horror, but a Treehouse of Horror.
Yay.
Woo!
I'm excited.
Yay. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for voting in the poll, and we hope you guys enjoyed everything. So, yeah. Thanks to Kuro for the art of us there. Thanks to Shadow for being here and naming off the nominees.
Heck yeah. Thanks to Pi for being here and hosting
thank you for
this.
Thank you to the Emmys for existing so we can do this.
Yeah, I guess yeah, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah. All right. PIEGUYRULZ out.
See ya.